This is the way I see it. I'm Kathleen Hall.
And I'm Ken Pierre.
Today, we would like to talk about the difference between mindful time and mindless time. So, there really is a difference. Mindful time is kind of a seasonal time. It is when we live in the four cycles of the year, with fall to winter to spring to summer, and we live in an awareness that we are part of and in that cycle of nature. We have this trust that the next cycle of life will come, the next feelings, the next shedding, the next whatever it is, there is a confidence to it. And so when you live in mindful time, which is tied to nature, for an example, this is fall. So I trust the falling of the leaves, the trees are going to be naked, the ground, the crops will come up, everything will begin to lie fallow. Then as we shift and the days get shorter, then we will live through winter, which is a time of lying fallow, listening, reading, eating soups, nurturing ourselves, but going deeper into the cave of our heart. And then spring comes, where we start planting the seeds of our life again, of our hopes, of our dreams, of our relationships. Then we shift into summer, which is that warm fecundity, plants, food, and our lives too, vacations, relaxing. And I think it's really important because there are so many rituals tied with us, and when we lose that, we lose a huge part of ourselves. And in theological and philosophical terms, there are Greek words called kairos and chronos. And chronos is the circular watch, or like this Apple Watch that people are obsessed with. And the difference is kairos is divine. It's an appointed, it's a divine providence. It's trusting in what you are to be. And what I'm finding, Ken, more and more is people live in this chronos, this circular time. And it's really, if you think about it, I'm challenging you to think this way. It's like living from the outside in when you're living from an apparatus, as opposed to kairos, which is living from the inside out.
Inside out. That's why you don't wear a watch, huh?
Nope, not since Deepak Chopra, I don't know, 25, 30 years ago. I went to a lecture of his, and he said, do you really want to change your life? And he just said, just get rid of your watch. I challenge you. And I had some nice expensive watch from my Wall Street days, and I took that sucker off and went over to the trash can and dropped it in. And yeah, I took his challenge of living from the inside out ever since. I'm hardly ever, as you can tell, 2 minutes off either, by the way.
You're right. She's always accurate with the time.
He knows because when he's late.
True.
But what do you think about that?
So,
Because you were in the service. You had to live by. So the reality of living, don't you think, in human times is you have to live.
this is what I know. This is all I've known. You always are prepared. You're late if you're on time. You're early if you're there 15 minutes. That's what I've known. So to hear that, it's a different perspective that I have to absorb. I have to encompass it, because I feel like I don't know. I don't know this way of life, but I'm willing to accept it and just be immersive in it. Like, but
Yeah. And also the kairos is more believing that time is expansive and contractive, just like waves, just like the wind, just like the trees. They move.
It's fluid.
It's nature. Whereas chronos, that circular or digital time, is precise. It's linear. And what it's doing, in my opinion, is driving us crazy. I happen to be a stress expert. Let me tell you, our bodies, our biology, our brain, we were not meant to live this way. So what we have to configure in this new mindful world is how to get a balance between both of them. And living in history, I love history. I read biographies. I'm obsessed with reading people that have tremendous resilience and have changed the world, like George Washington and Ulysses S. Grant and Muir, who started the Sierra Club. These people believed in a divine providence, that when bullets were going by their heads or bears were attacking them or whatever happened, they had this confidence in kairos. This is my appointed time. I was created for this time, and I trust time. Whether and whatever season I'm in, I have reverence for it and rituals for it. Whereas so many of us, especially our young people, are lost because of time. Think about it.
So what
Time
is
is our
mindless
lives.
time? What is
And mindless time is being addicted to this thing going off all the time, and news alerts and everything else. And I know some people have to do it, but you got to figure out some kind of balance with this. And that's why we have the Mindful Living Network, and we're talking about all this because we want everybody to be happy and have a rich life and a happy life, and not be addicted to the chronos. We're inviting you to a kairos life.
Hey, should do a poll.
Yeah.
See who wants to do it.
We
Start.
will. We're going to do that in our next phase
Challenge.
of our company.
Cool.
So,
Alright.
thanks for today.
My name's Ken Pierre.
And I'm Kathleen Hall. And thank you so much for joining us on The Way I See It today. Have a great week.
Have a great